This right here is the latest phone from Poco. This is called the X3 GT and this is a phone that supports 5G connectivity. This is also powered by the Mediatek Dimensity 1100 that's paired with 8 gigs of RAM, and you can get the device with either 128 gigs of internal storage or 256 gigs of internal storage. Keep in mind that this device cannot take an SD card, so you're gonna have to buy the one with enough internal storage so it can fit your needs. I personally have the one that has 256 gigs of internal storage. Now, for those of you that like benchmark scores, well, this device gets an Antutu benchmark score of just under 600,000, so you already know that you're looking at a pretty quick device. Just like the other two devices from the X3 line, so we have the X3 NFC and we also have the X3 Pro, well, this one is mostly made out of plastic, so the frame around it and the back are made out of plastic, so you don't necessarily get that premium feel that you would get with a device that has a metallic frame and maybe a glass back. So on the right hand side here we have the volume buttons and the power button. The power button is also a fingerprint scanner. As always with the most Xiaomi devices, all you have to do is touch that fingerprint scanner and the screen will unlock, and it takes less than half a second for that to happen. So very responsive fingerprint scanner. On the left hand side of the device we have the slot for the SIM card. So this device can only take 2 SIM cards at the same time. You cannot use an SD card as I mentioned earlier. At the top here we have the holes for the second speaker, we have the hole for the IR blaster, so you can use this device as a remote control for your TV, just to give you an example. So with this device we get one speaker at the top and one speaker at the bottom, which is definitely a nice thing, and the speakers are also quite loud as well. And I'm going to show you a quick example so you can hear how those speakers sound in just a second. At the bottom here we have the USB-C charging port and another little hole for a microphone. So let me show you a quick example so you can hear how those two speakers sound like. On the front of the device we have a 6.6 inches IPS panel that has a refresh rate of 120 Hz and a maximum brightness of 450 nits. Now, even though this is not a bad screen, I mean it looks great, the colors look nice and vibrant, even the viewing angles are pretty good, I would have personally preferred to have an AMOLED screen on the front of this device, something that we have on the Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 for example, but no, this one we get an IPS screen. I guess if you want an AMOLED screen, you could get the Poco X3 instead. So personally, yes, I would have preferred to have an AMOLED screen on the front of this device. Inside it, we also have a 5000 mAh battery, and the phone also supports 67 watt fast charging. And of course, we get one of these chargers in the box as well. So charging this from 0 to 100 is done in about 45 minutes, so extremely quick, mostly if you'd be to compare this to like a Samsung Galaxy S21 or an iPhone 12. Now, on one charge, you can typically get between 6 and 8 hours of screen on time. So definitely not the best screen on time that I've seen from a Xiaomi device in the past, but decent enough taking in consideration the performance of this device. For cameras, well, we have 4 of them. We have one on the front. This is a 16 megapixel sensor, and these are a couple of examples of selfies that I took during the day and of course at night. The daytime selfies do look great, the nighttime selfies not that great, so probably best if you don't take that many selfies at night. As for the back of the device there, we have 3 other cameras. So we have a 64 megapixel sensor as the main camera, we have an 8 megapixel sensor as an ultra wide camera, and then we have a 2 megapixel sensor as a macro lens. I'm not even sure why they still include that macro camera, but I guess it looks better to have 3 cameras on the back. These are some examples of pictures that I took during the day and at night. So the night mode is also available no matter if you're using the main camera or the ultra wide camera. So you can always use that night mode, which is definitely a good thing. As for video recordings, well, if you're recording with the main camera on the back of the device, the maximum recording resolution is 4K at 30 frames per second. And this is a quick example of a daytime recording that I filmed the other day, just so you have an idea how this looks. If you are recording with an ultra-wide lens, the maximum recording resolution for that one is 1080p at 30 frames per second, and the same goes for the front-facing camera. Now, if you are using the front-facing camera, unfortunately, there is no image stabilization for those recordings. I'm sure that will be added in a future update, but as of now, so about a week before the release date, there is no image stabilization available for the recordings done by the front-facing camera. And I've also done a camera comparison between this phone and the iPhone 12, where I've included about, I don't know, 80 or 90 pictures and videos, so definitely check that out if you want to see more examples of pictures and videos that I filmed with this device. I will leave a link to that in the video's description or the top right corner of this video. Performance-wise, well, just as you'd expect, this phone is blazing fast, and I actually find this phone faster than the Poco X3 Pro. So if you're looking for a fast phone, this is definitely one that you should consider. This one is running MIUI 12.5, which is based on Android 11, and pretty much all the applications that I've tried work extremely well. Everything launches very fast, and it doesn't matter what games you're playing on it, the phone performs well for anything that you're gonna do with it. So it doesn't matter if you're writing a text message or playing, I don't know, PUBG at the maximum graphics settings, this phone will do great for anything. There is also an NFC chip inside it, so yes, you can use Google Pay to make payments with it. I've checked out the GPS unit inside it, and like most Xiaomi phones, it takes a couple of seconds to find your location, and once the location is found, it doesn't seem to lose it, so using any navigation app works great. For sensors, we have a variety of sensors available, but you're not gonna be able to watch Netflix in HD on it. So to quickly conclude this video, the Poco X3 GT is definitely a very fast phone, and yes, like most Poco devices, it does offer a lot of value for your money, but when compared to the Poco X3 Pro or the Poco X3 NFC, I don't feel that this brings that much new to the table. Sure, we have 5G connectivity and faster charging, 67 watt fast charging, but other than that, there isn't much that's new compared to the other two. I would have preferred to have an AMOLED screen instead of this IPS panel. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.